Hi, this is Steve Carroll and I'm going to show you now how to use the Job Retention Scheme Planner. This is a tool that's been developed based on the latest sort of COVID-19 support and is just an indicator to help you when you're looking at what the cash flow and profit costs might be when putting different staff on the scheme. But principally looking for the cash implications and when you might get that amount back. What amounts to expect. It's not an individual payroll mechanism. It's to give an overall view on the amounts and for planning scenarios. So when we're looking at the planner, the amounts in blue are the cash implications, which splits out the cash due out for net salaries, the amounts owed to HMRC, which under the current schemes can be deferred by negotiation, and the amounts of pension due out. Next is the cash due in under the scheme, which gives a total of net cash owed, which is the amount of the cash due out less the cash due in. Now obviously there's going to be some timing differences because the net salary paid going to be paid to your staff now, so the amount owed to HMRC could be deferred by negotiation and the amounts of the pension will be due now. So the timing of these, but then that's when we'll show how to feed that through into the cash flow template. What we've also got in the blue is the number of staff that's on the scheme and not on the scheme. The amounts in green are the profit elements. So that shows the gross salary, the employer's national insurance and the employer's pension, less the amount due back under the job retention scheme to give a net cost. So that's the profit element, not necessarily the cash. Moving on to the input side of it, any of the cells that are in yellow can be input, where you put the name or role if you want to anonymize it, the gross pay, the percentage of the normal salary to be paid, and whether somebody is in the scheme. This model then takes that information, it assumes that every individual is subject to the normal tax allowances, national insurance allowances, and automatic enrolment pension scheme. So if they're earning more than £10,000, they're on the automatic enrolment scheme, and it's assumed that the new tax allowances from April 2020 are in place. So I say it's not for individual putting in their individual tax codes or individual pension schemes. This is really just a summary planner. So if we start with person one, so if we put in Bob James, normal gross monthly pay £2,500, they're going to be paid 100% of their salary and they're not in the scheme. So if we did want to put them in the scheme, there's a toggle box here. If you click on it, there's a drop down. So that gives a yes or a no. So we simply click on that and do yes and no. And if you notice on the amounts above, the totals in this case don't change. So for instance, the 4250 net salary pay doesn't change, but the amounts, how that's split between the non-scheme staff and scheme staff split, as does the amount due back from the job retention scheme. And if we look here, there's still 2 staff. If we put him on the scheme, it indicates there's now 2 on the job retention scheme, and the amount due back under the scheme has increased. So put as many staff on there as you want. If you're just wanting an individual to see what the impact of that is, we can just clear those. So they're now at 0. So that'll just show the impact of one member of staff. Under the job retention scheme, there's a cap of £2,500 per month for individual staff members, plus employers' NI and pension. So if you do have any staff on the scheme that are above that, the cap there is 2,803. So that shows the profit cost of somebody on the scheme for the amount that you can't claim back. So in this case, their gross salary plus the employer's NI plus the pension less the maximum you can claim under the scheme will still cost you £1,752. Now under the scheme, you can reclaim a maximum of 80%. As an employer, you can pay 100%, and I know many are. If you did pay the 80%, that will feed through as well. So on a gross salary of £4,000, the gross pay that you are paying them now is £3,200. So again, that's just a simple input on the percentage paid. So you just build this up. With who's on the scheme, who isn't, and it builds up the total for you. And you've always got the split between scheme staff, non-scheme staff, cash totals, O2 HMRC, pension, and the amount owed back. So that's the overview of how the job retention scheme planner works, where to input, how to interpret the summary and read that and get the information, and how to get the number of staff that are on the scheme and not on the scheme after you've input here all your employees on it.